All right, so this is our first figure number 1. All right, so we plotted these points, these 4 points, and we connected them together, and it makes like this little parallelogram looking thing. And then it says the word reflect. So once I see the word reflect, so that you'll see either reflect, rotate, or translate on here, I'm going to turn to my reflections paper. So there is a reason that we, have all these in our notes, and it's helpful to use. There's also another thing that you can do. You can use that, and I also printed this out for you guys. So it says reflect over the y-axis. So it means to change the sign of the x value. Change the sign of the x value. Okay, what does that look like? Well, you can also look here across the y-axis. So this is on your purple sheet that I printed out for you. The x value changes signs. So you guys see how this little cheat sheet thing, it's like that's something to help you. You can use your notes, or you can use this, whatever you feel more comfortable with. But basically we're going to go through and we're going to change the sign of the x value. Since it says y-axis, we are going to then change the sign of the x value. Pretty easy. So let's go through. 0, 0 is going to stay the same. So we're going to call it 0, 0. 6, 0, we're going to change it to negative 6, 0. Because we're changing the sign of the x value. Negative 11, 5. I don't know why I put 0. That's why I'm using pencil. And then negative 5, negative 5. So you guys see the change for this? Change the sign of the x value because it says go over the y-axis. And if you still are like, why am I doing that? Because it tells you. Across the y-axis, the x value changes signs. So it doesn't mean it has to be negative. It means it changes signs. Because like here, you can't change it. So you just leave it as 0. Okay, and then you go and you plot those points. So now it's 0, 0 again, and then negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. Make sure you count correctly. And then negative 11, 5. So this starts at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then negative 5, 5. And then we end up connecting all the dots. Okay, and then now we have this shape. So that shape got reflected over the y-axis. And then it says to reflect number 2 over the x-axis. So here's what's important. If you mess up this one, then the rest of them are going to be messed up. So you really have to make sure you pay attention. Because now we are reflecting this over the x-axis. Okay, so let's look and see what that means. When we reflect, we can look in one of two places. You either look at the reflections page right here. Reflect over the x-axis means change the sign of the y value. Or you look here. Reflect across the x-axis, it means the y value changes signs. All right, so either one of those places, either purple paper or your notes. 0, 0 is going to remain the same. Negative 6, 0 will also remain the same. Do you guys see why it remains the same? Because 0 is what the y value is. And if we're changing the sign of the y value, and it's already at 0, remains at 0. And then negative 11, change the sign of the y value. It goes from positive to negative. Negative 5, negative 5. So it's important that you write these in, and then you plot it. So we're taking this shape over the x-axis. So it basically just gets plotted on the other side. So you can either take these points and plot them from here, or, just see, okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away. So we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces down. Same with this, 5 spaces down, but on the same pattern. All right. All right, and then that's my third one. Okay, the next one. Reflect number 3 over the y-axis. So you're going to, continue on. That's all that I'm going to do with you. Just remember for clockwise versus counterclockwise. This is the other thing that I want to talk about real quick. So rotate, we don't have the points for this yet, but just remember there's a couple ways you can look at it. So you either take it and look at this page in the notes, rotations, or this tells you the same thing. So clockwise 90 degrees would mean change the sign of the X value, or change the sign of, and switch. There we go. There's the words I'm trying to say. The X and Y value switch, change the sign of the X value. And that's, but 90 degrees counterclockwise, you would look in here. Counterclockwise, 90 degrees. You switch the X and Y and you change the sign of the Y value. Okay? All right. Okay, we're going to go through number 5, and then that'll be it. So the x-axis is, the x value is going to change signs since we're flipping over the y-axis. X value changes signs over the x-axis, or when going over the y-axis. So it becomes a positive 11, negative 5, positive 5, negative 5. So the y values don't change anywhere. The x values change, except if it's at 0, and that can't change. So we go over here, and you're basically taking this shape, and you're reflecting it over here. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points away here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that puts it at 5, negative 5. And 11, negative 5. It's also kind of easy to see if you've messed it up, because your shapes should look the same, like when you're reflecting it. Okay, so like you should have a shape that looks like that. All right, the last one, and then I'm going to let you guys go at your own pace after this. We're going to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, so let's look. Counterclockwise, 90 degrees. So that's 90 degrees. That means we're going to take our X and Y and we're going to flip them. We're going to switch spots, and then we're going to change the sign of the Y value. So I'm going to show you the way that I feel like is the easiest to do this. So first of all, the 0, 0 is just going to stay put. It's just going to remain as 0, 0. Okay, so we are starting at positive 6, 0 for this one. We're going to change this, so it would be 0, 6. The Y value is going to change signs. But since the Y value is a 0 for this, it cannot change signs. So it just becomes 0, 6. So see that? We switched them, the X and the Y value. You can't change the sign of the Y value. All right? All right, then notice what's happening. Switch it, the Y value changes. Can this Y value change signs? It starts as a negative 5. So it would change to the opposite of that, just a positive 5. So what's going to happen here is this becomes positive, and this becomes, just stays the same. Just moves to a different spot. So do you guys see the change from here to here? This is probably the hardest part of the whole thing. So if we can figure this out, the rest of this is going to be cake. All right? And then same idea here. You're switching them, but the Y value changes sign. So it starts as negative. It must become positive. And this is our new figure. Okay? So these are our new points. We're going to take these points and we're going to plot them. I'm going to make sure you have these. Okay, so I've rotated my points, and I have 0, 0, 5, 5, 5, 11, 0, 6. I can plot them. And voila, there is my 5th shape. Okay, so you're just going to continue and go all the way through. The last thing that's important is that when you get to number 9, you're starting a new figure. So you're done with like these other points. Okay, so on number 9, you'll just plot those new points. You're not having to do any transformations.